Very good day, guys. Welcome again. I am your host, Dr. Sachin Yadav. So, till now, under the cervical vertebra, we have covered the typical cervical vertebrae. So, I hope you are doing very well wherever you are present now. So, today, in this session of cervical vertebra, we will talk about the first cervical vertebra and we learn about the features of this vertebra. So, this first cervical vertebra you can see in my hand. Okay, so this is a ring-like structure. This is also known as Atlas. Okay, this is he is Ewart Tilton who supported the heaven on his shoulder and head. So that is the name. Okay, because this bone is also supporting or not supporting, but it is present below, just below the skull. Okay, so what are the identifying features? So this is ring shaped, as already I told you, and it has no body, not spine. It has a short anterior arch and a long posterior arch, which are completing the ring structure of this bone. And there are the two masses, right and the left lateral masses, and transverse processes. The anterior arch, it is marked by a median anterior tubercle. You can see this is anterior tubercle. So on it is present on the anterior aspect, and its posterior surface is having a facet which is oval in shape and which articulates with the dens. If you see what is the dens, this is the dens, that is odontite process of the second cervical vertebra or axis. Okay, so this is articulating here like this. So this is the joint known as a pivot joint here, atlantoaxial joint. Okay, so I will keep it aside. Again, come back on atlas bone. Now the posterior arch. So this posterior arch is forming about 2/5 of the ring. It is larger than the anterior one, and its posterior surface is having median posterior tubercle. The upper surface of the arch is marked behind by a groove posterior to the lateral mass. And this groove is known as the vertebral groove because it is supporting the third part of the vertebral artery. Now we'll talk about the lateral mass. So till now I hope you have grasped everything well. So lateral mass now. So its upper surface here you can see it is having superior articular facet. So this facet is elongated forward and medially. The axis is anteromedial and it is concave. It is directed upward and medially, and it is articulating with the corresponding condyle on the occipital bone of the skull. And this joint is known as atlanto-occipital joint. If I can show you, this articulates like this with the occipital condyle of the skull. Okay guys, very good. Then the lower surface, you can see here it is marked by inferior articular facet, and this facet is circular, different from the superior facet, and it is flat, more or less it is flat. It is directed downward, medial and backward, and it is articulating with again with the other joint with second cervical vertebra, that is axis. So you can see how it is formed again. So it is the second atlantoaxial joint, different from the odontite process forming the joint on the anterior arch. Good. Then again the medial surface here you can see of the lateral mass, it is marked by a small roughened tubercle. Okay. Then there is a transverse process which is projecting laterally from the lateral mass, and it is unusually long, and it can be felt on the surface of the neck between the angle of the mandible and mastoid process. So this is so much long transversely. Yes. Then its long length allowed it to act as an effective lever for the rotator movement of the head. Okay, so that we can rotate the head right and the left. And here you can see there the transverse process having again the foramen transversarium, which is the main peculiarity of the all the cervical vertebrae, the foramen transversarium. Now, so we have seen all the features of this first cervical vertebra, that is atlas. Now we will come on the attachment and its relations. So we'll see one by one all the parts. So first the anterior tubercle. So it is giving attachment to the anterior longitudinal ligament and insertion on each side to the upper oblique part of the longus colli muscle. Then the upper border of the anterior arch you can see here. Here is attachment of the anterior atlanto-occipital membrane. Then the lower border of the anterior arch gives attachment to the lateral fibers of the anterior longitudinal ligament. Okay. Then the posterior tubercle here, it is providing attachment to the ligamentum nuchae in the median plane and gives origin to rectus capitis posterior minor on each side. So this muscle is the part it is forming the boundary of the suboccipital triangle. Then the groove on the upper surface of the posterior arch, that is also known as the vertebral groove because it is accommodating the third part of the vertebral artery. And also the first cervical nerve, that is the dorsal ramus of the first cervical spinal nerve, that is also known as the suboccipital nerve. Then behind the groove, the upper border of the first arch is giving attachment to the posterior atlanto-occipital membrane from this posterior arch to the posterior margin of foramen magnum. Okay guys, you are getting it? Very good. Then the lower border of the posterior arch, now it is giving attachment to the highest pair of the ligamentum flavum. That is ligamentum flava. So ligamentum flavae on each side of the lamina. On the lower side, so this first pair is getting attachment from the inferior border of the posterior arch. Then the tubercle on the middle side of the lateral mass, they are giving attachment to the transverse ligament of the atlas. What? The transverse ligament of atlas. Then the anterior surface of the lateral mass, there is the origin of the muscle named as rectus capitis anterior. And the transverse process is giving origin to the rectus capitis lateralis from its upper surface. Anteriorly, the superior oblique muscle from its posterior part of the upper surface and the inferior oblique muscle from the lower surface of the tip. And the levator scapular muscle is arising from the lateral margin. And lower border is giving attachment to on the lower margin and lateral margin. And the splenius cervicis and the scalenus medius are arising from the posterior tubercle of the transverse process. Got it guys? Very good. So we have covered all these attachment and relations of the first cervical vertebra also. So at the last point of this, the ossification. So there are three centers of the ossification, one for each lateral mass with half of the posterior arch and one for anterior arch. Got it? One anterior arch and each for of the two remaining two each for the lateral mass with half of the posterior arch. The centers for the lateral masses appear during the 7th week of the intrauterine life, and they unite to posteriorly at about 3 years of the age after birth. And the center for the anterior arch appears at about 1st year and unites with the lateral mass at about 7 years of the age. Got it guys? So I know you have grasped it all very well, and you will also revise it before your exam so that you can do very well, perform very well in your examinations. So thank you guys for your time and patience. So we'll meet again in the next video like this. So thank you very much. Goodbye.